and a very warm welcome. I am Kinzhal and you're watching Firstpost. In the next few minutes, I get you the top 40 updates from around the world, only here on Fast and Factual. Let's get started. We begin with the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. Moscow unleashed one of its heaviest attacks on Kyiv in recent months, killing at least 12 people and injuring about 48. Ukrainian officials said Russia used at least 629 drones and 31 missiles. This included 2 hypersonic Kinzhal missiles and 9 ballistic missiles. Russia hit multiple districts, toppling a 5-storey building and damaging a shopping mall. President Zelensky condemned Moscow's assault, saying Russia chooses missiles instead of the negotiating table. At least 2 children were killed and 17 others injured in a mass shooting in Minneapolis. Police stated that the attacker fired through the windows of a church using a rifle, a shotgun and a pistol. The shooter, identified as Robin Westman, later died by suicide in the church's parking lot. The tragedy occurred while students were praying at the church. The shooter had posted videos online that included a multi-page manifesto containing names and drawings of firearms. The shooter's weapons carried texts such as "Nuke India," "Kill Trump," and "Israel must fall." White House trade advisor Peter Navarro labelled the Russia-Ukraine conflict as Modi's war. This came hours after Trump's 50% tariff in New Delhi took effect. Navarro stated that India could receive a 25% tariff reduction tomorrow if it stops purchasing Russian oil. Navarro also slammed India's claims of sovereignty over oil imports, accusing New Delhi of quote-unquote getting in bed with authoritarians like China and Russia. The Trump administration has accused India of funding Russia's war machine in Ukraine through oil purchases from Moscow, a claim New Delhi has strongly denied. In India, 2 terrorists were killed as security forces foiled an infiltration attempt along the line of control in Jammu and Kashmir's Bandipora district. The army said troops acting on police intelligence had spotted suspicious movement in the Gurez sector and challenged the intruders. The terrorists had opened indiscriminate fire, prompting soldiers to retaliate and neutralize them. The army confirmed that the operation had been launched jointly with Jammu and Kashmir Police and remained underway in the area. At the Indo-Pacific Chiefs of Defence Conference 2025 meeting in Thailand, India engaged in key defence discussions with Vietnam, South Korea and the United Kingdom. Air Marshal Ashutosh Dikshit, Chief of Integrated Defence Staff, met with senior military leaders. Talks focused on expanding defence cooperation, strengthening maritime collaboration, enhancing professional military exchanges and exploring partnerships in technology and humanitarian assistance. Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korea's Kim Jong-un will stand alongside Chinese President Xi Jinping at Beijing's Victory Day parade on September 3rd. According to China's Foreign Ministry, 26 foreign leaders will attend, including one from the EU, Slovakia's Prime Minister Robert Fico. The parade underscores Beijing's growing military clout while showcasing unity with Moscow, hit by sanctions over the Ukraine war, and Pyongyang, long isolated under UN sanctions for its nuclear program. Australia, Canada and the Philippines carried out joint naval and air defence exercises near the disputed Scarborough Shoal in the South China Sea, a territory claimed by China. According to the Philippine military, the drills, which included 3 warships, several warplanes and a military helicopter, focused on countering aerial threats through coordinated defensive measures. The Trump administration has proposed new rules to limit how long foreign students and journalists can stay in the United States. Under the plan, student visas would be capped at 4 years, while foreign journalists would be restricted to 240 days. Chinese journalists, however, would only receive 90-day stays. Until now, visas were issued for the duration of a program or assignment. The Department of Homeland Security argued that some individuals were misusing student visas to remain in the country indefinitely. Argentina's President Javier Milei was pelted with stones, plants and bottles during a campaign event near Buenos Aires on August 27. Protesters rallied against him over a corruption scandal, forcing security officials to rush the president away from the scene. Reports suggest the leader did not sustain any injury. A 15-year-old boy has been sentenced to 7 years in youth detention facility for shooting Colombian senator and president candidate Miguel Uribe Turbay during a campaign rally in Bogota in June. Uribe, who was hit 3 times, including twice in the head, died on August 11 after weeks in intensive care. The teenager was charged with attempted homicide and illegal possession of firearms. On to climate updates now. In India, relentless rain continues to wreak havoc in northern state of Himachal Pradesh. Kullu and Manali have been cut off for the 3rd straight day after landslides damaged a Kyiv bridge on Chandigarh-Manali highway. The heavy downpour has also left the Beas River swollen, submerging roads and homes. More than 580 roads remain closed, power lines are down and water supply has been disrupted, making restoration a major challenge. With forecasters warning of more rain, authorities have placed the state on high alert. A landslide triggered by a typhoon Kajiki killed at least 5 people, injured 13 and left 7 missing in northern Thailand's Chiang Mai province on Wednesday. Heavy rains also caused flooding and landslides across 8 provinces, affecting more than 180 households. Meanwhile, in Vietnam, at least 7 people were killed and more than 10,000 homes were damaged by Kajiki's flooding the same day. In the U.S., heavy rain triggered flash flooding at a ranch in Green River, Wyoming on Wednesday. The National Weather Service said Sweetwater County recorded below normal temperatures as rainfall reached more than an inch per hour. Forecasters warned of additional showers and isolated storms through Saturday, raising the risk of flooding in low-lying areas and potential roadway damage. Mexico's jaguar population grew by at least 30% since 2010, according to the National Alliance for Jaguar Conservation, which released a national census of the animals on Wednesday. Although expanding protected areas helped the species recover, the big cats still face climate pressures such as hotter temperatures and shrinking forests. Experts warn it could take at least 2 decades of gradual growth to remove the jaguar from the risk of extinction. According to a study, deforestation has killed more than 500,000 people in the tropics over the past 20 years. Researchers said land clearance raised temperatures in the Amazon, Congo and Southeast Asia, leading to about 28,000 heat-related deaths each year. More than half of these deaths occurred in Southeast Asia, while Africa and Latin America also recorded heavy losses. Scientists warn that cutting down forests not only drives global climate change, but also directly threatens local communities. On to business and tech news now. Asian stocks wobbled earlier today after Nvidia's strong earnings were tempered by concerns over its China business. The MSCI Asia Pacific Index outside Japan swung between gains and losses as investors also weighed the Bank of Korea, holding rates steady and Japan's trade negotiator cancelling a US visit. Meanwhile, the dollar remained weak as traders increased bets on September Fed rate cut after President Donald Trump moved to fire Governor Lisa Cook, sparking concerns over the central bank's independence. Indian shares fell earlier today as markets reacted to Washington's additional 25% tariff on Indian goods, taking total duties to 50%. The Nifty 50 dropped 0.63% and the Sensex shed 0.65%, with all 16 sectors logging losses. This came after Nifty and Sensex fell about 1% each on Tuesday, their sharpest single-day percentage drop in 3 months. Oil prices fell earlier today as investors weighed lower US fuel demand ahead of the end of summer season. Brent crude futures went down 63 cents to $67.43 a barrel, and West Texas Intermediate futures dropped 62 cents to $63.55. The drop came a day after data showed US crude stocks fell by 2.4 million barrels, slightly more than expected, but at a slower pace than the previous week. Investors were also watching India's response to higher US tariffs. BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, pushed back on against pressure from both Republican and Democratic officials, saying it only sought to fulfill its duties to clients. In a memo to 43 state treasurers and auditors, the company warned that both parties were politicizing the management of public pension funds after Republicans criticized its climate policies and Democrats urged more action on environmental risks. With $12.5 trillion under management, BlackRock said it is not an activist investor. More than 600 United Auto workers at GE Aerospace facilities in Avondale, Ohio and Erlanger, Kentucky went on strike after failing to reach a new contract agreement. The Avondale plant builds engines for the US Navy, while the Erlanger site supplies parts to other engine plants, making the walkout a new flashpoint in the aerospace industry's labor disputes. GE Aerospace said it activated a contingency plan and expressed disappointment. The union chose to strike before workers had a chance to vote on its latest offer. Ryanair Chief Executive Michael O'Leary said he is impressed with Boeing's turnaround and has been reassured the US plane maker will lift output of 737 jets to 42 a month by October. The airline has ordered 150 of Boeing's larger MAX 10 jets, with certification expected early next year. However, O'Leary warned that any delay beyond spring 2027 could halt Ryanair's growth that summer. To maximize Christmas capacity, Boeing has agreed to bring forward delivery of 25 MAX 8s to October rather than early next year. A group representing global airlines asked the United Nations Aviation Agency to raise the international age limit for commercial pilots to 67 years from 65, saying demand for air travel was outstripping the supply of aviators. The International Civil Aviation Organization was preparing to consider the proposal at its General Assembly on September 23, while major pilot unions in the United States were opposing it over safety concerns. The International Air Transport Association, which represented about 350 airlines, called the increase a cautious but reasonable STE. Amazon said it will extend its corporate staff programs, including pay structure and benefits, to U.S. corporate employees at its Whole Foods chain of supermarkets, aiming to integrate its grocery businesses more closely. The e-commerce giant said it would fully align benefits for all corporate employees across grocery units by December next year, and the Whole Foods Market corporate employees would retain in-store discount perks until then. Microsoft fired 2 employees who had joined a sit-in at the office of company president Brad Smith to protest against the firm's ties to Israel as it wages war in Gaza. The company said the actions breached policy and amounted to a break-in, prompting the terminations. The 2 employees were among 7 protesters who were arrested on Tuesday after occupying the company president's office. Anthropic said it detected and blocked hackers trying to use its Claude AI system to write phishing emails and create malicious code. The company reported that attempts included circumventing safety filters, drafting persuasive posts at scale, and giving low-skill hackers step-by-step instructions. Anthropic confirmed it had banned the accounts involved, tightened filters, and shared case studies to help other organizations understand the growing risks of AI exploitation. Moving to sports, today we begin with tennis, and we keep up with the latest from the US Open. Men's world number 2 Carlos Alcaraz charged into the 3rd round with a straight sets win over world number 65 opponent. 5-time Grand Slam champion Alcaraz powered past the Italian 6-1, 6-0, 6-3 in the 2nd round. Serbian legend Novak Djokovic kept his dream of a record 25th Grand Slam alive. He beat an American qualifier Zachary Swiatek in 4 sets in the 2nd round. Djokovic, however, was forced to dig deep after losing the first set before claiming a 6-7, 6-3, 6-3, 6-1 win. The 38-year-old said that while not at his best, he is hoping to play himself into form as the tournament progresses. And it's the end of the road at the US Open for the rising Filipino star Alexandria Ayala. The 20-year-old lost the 2nd round clash 4-6, 3-6 against Spain's Cristina Bucha. Her performance was riddled with 21 unforced errors and a disappointing 3 of 9 conversion on break points. Russia's Daniil Medvedev got slapped with a fine of over $42,000 by the US Open following his unprecedented meltdown in the first round. Medvedev was hit with $30,000 fine for unsportsmanly conduct and over $12,000 for racket abuse. The former world number 1 smashed his racket repeatedly after a photographer wandered onto the court and his opponent got an extra serve. In badminton, star Indian shuttler PV Sindhu continued her solid run at the World Championship. The 2019 world champion found her aggression against her Malaysian opponent in the round of 32. The double Olympic medalist won the match 21-19, 21-15 in just 43 minutes. And star Indian men's doubles pair Satvik Sairaj Raniki Reddy and Chirag Shetty also made it to the round of 16 at World Championship. The Paris Olympic semi-finalists batted past a pair from Chinese Taipei 22-20, 21-13. Meanwhile, India's HS Pranoy also put up a stunning fight against world's number 2 Andres Antonsen of Denmark in round of 32. But the Indian lost the match in a 3-game thriller. After dropping the opening game, Pranoy fought back but could not close the match. The Dane prevailed 21-8, 21-17, 23-21 in 81 minutes. In football, Manchester United suffered the League Cup exit to 4th-tier Grimsby. League 2 side Grimsby won a marathon penalty shootout after a 2-all draw. After a woeful first half, United trailed 2-0 to goals from Charles Burnham and Tyrell Warren. Brian Mbomo had sparked a late rally from the Red Devils before Harry Maguire's header forced a shootout. United lost the match following an 11-12 shootout loss. Newcastle forward Alexander Isak has been called up by Sweden for World Cup qualifiers. This comes despite Isak being sidelined by his club as he tries to force a move to Liverpool. Liverpool have bid $148 million for Isak, but Saudi-owned Newcastle are reported to have slapped an over $200 million price tag on the star forward. In cricket, Afghanistan's cricket board appointed former Irish international John Mooney as the men's team's new fielding coach. Mooney, who worked with Afghanistan from 2018 to 2019, was hired after the post went vacant following the departure of an Australian origin coach. And finally, in entertainment news, Taylor Swift and Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce's engagement announcement has shattered Instagram records. Their post amassed over 1 million reposts within 6 hours. It also quickly surpassed 29 million likes. Analysts note the record engagement reflects the merging of two massive fandoms, Swift's global fan base and NFL followers. Anne Hathaway had a dramatic yet graceful mishap while filming The Devil Wears Prada 2 in New York, slipping on a step after her designer heel broke. The Oscar-winning star, reprising her role as Andy Sachs nearly 2 decades after the original film, laughed off the fall and continued filming. The moment, captured by the paparazzi, has gone viral on social media. Despite a career spanning 4 decades and 2 Academy Awards, Denzel Washington admitted he has little interest in cinema today. Washington confessed that he does not watch movies and is tired of them. The actor explained that he doesn't revisit his old work, preferring to focus on the present rather than relive past performances. Netflix has confirmed October 3 as the global premiere date for Monster the Ed Gein story, the 3rd season of Ryan Murphy and Ian Brennan's true crime anthology. Starring Charlie Hunnam and Gein, the show explores how the quiet Wisconsin farmhand's crimes, including grave robbing and making household items from human remains. And after nearly a decade away from Hollywood, director Bryan Singer has made a discreet comeback with a new period drama starring Jon Voight. The film, shot in Greece in 2023, is set during Israel's occupation of Lebanon in the late 1970s and early 1980s. It tells the story of an architect seeking redemption while navigating fraught father-son dynamics. Singer's career decline followed decades of sexual misconduct allegations, though he has denied wrongdoing and never faced criminal charges. That's all for today. Thank you for joining us. I am Gushin Galan and we'll see you right back here tomorrow. Until then, stay informed and stay tuned to Firstpost.